Silver, we start with the daily chart. Okay, based on daily chart, if we refer back to my last video analysis, when we're talking about the daily chart for the based on silver, we had two options when the price was somewhere around here. We mentioned that one of the option is this is the only correction and this is the start of the up move. The another one was that we said we will have a bigger correction in relative to 1, 2, 3, in relative to this two, and we can expect one move drop. Okay, and when the price was here, we confirmed that the correction we are looking mostly is what I explained right now. That means we're getting for the bigger correction, and we can expect the price to drop. And what we expect, the price at least come to this level. Okay, now this is what we have. We finalized when the price was here. We following based on that. Now the things is, if we follow based on this correction, again, what I mentioned, we expecting the price at least come and break this low. May I put my trend line here? At least break this low. We can put here or here, but what we expect, we at least price come to this level. If there is a continuation and can break this low and continue, is better for us. Okay, that's why. Okay, that's why now this week we need to look for this correction and see how we can get the trade from this correction, and this correction can fall or not. Okay, the reason I say it can fall, also still there is a possibility the price can reverse from here. Okay, but most, this is, very rare it's happen. Mostly we are expecting we get the correction here and the price can drop. And this is what, based on what we have right now, we are looking for. Okay, if the price from here reverse, then everything will change. We look into it, but now we're looking for this correction for the next week. Now we want to see how we can trade it. Based on daily chart, we don't have any more information. In this case, we move to forward chart. Okay, based on forward chart, also we don't have anything. But this is the thing. We have only this correction. Now the question is, if we put this correction relative to this is the only correction, and the price next week from here can continue and drop, or we can expect to get a bigger correction before the price can drop. If yes, we're going to get the bigger correction, how this correction can form, whether similar to what I draw here, or we can expect a more complex correction, or we can expect the price to break this low, reverse, we get this correction before we get the down move. Depends what type of the correction we get here. Okay, again, for the next week, if we're looking for sell, we want to see whether this is the only correction or we can get the bigger correction. Okay, now the question is how we can trade for the next week in case any of the option we will have it. Okay, from what we have right now for the next week in the market open, if we want to look for sell. Okay, first things, if the price from here drop without giving a correction, we are not going to sell. That means if we want look for sell from here, we need to get the big correction. That means if when the market open, if we get a correction here, if we get the bigger correction is better. But if we want to look for sell, at least we need to get the correction before we look for sell. And if we get the correction, we get the sell setup. If we take the trade, as long as the price come to this low, we need to start to manage it, because now the question is whether the price can break and continue, or we will have a big correction. Okay, that means the first option is we need to get the correction here next week before we take the trade. Without the correction, we won't take the trade. And another option is that this option is really risky. It depends on the traders whether they want to take or not. The another option is we have a few pips below this, and what we expect, whether we get the correction or not, what we expect the price break the low and continue. But if the price come to this level, start to correct, we take out the trade. Okay, as I say, having a trade below this is very risky. It depends on the traders whether they want to take or not, but the best trade is having a correction here if we get before we look for sell. Okay, the reason is we go with this correction in case we didn't get the correction here and the price sharply drop. But again, having the second option, having entry, is really risky. Okay, and If I remove this one, okay, I just now explain. If we're going to look for sell for the next week, this is the two option. And how about if the price start to correct from here, give a bigger correction? If it give a bigger correction, then it's better for us. We can get the better sell setup. And if we get a bigger correction, like what I draw here, then having entry below this is not valid. We are not going to trade it. Having entry below this in case there is a small correction here. Okay, if we get a bigger correction, then we are not going to trade that, and it's get better for us. I mean, if we get a bigger correction. Okay, now the thing is there a possibility the price start from here and come and take this high? Yes. Okay, in that case, we won't have a trade setup because I explained what I explained based on having entry correction here or having entry below this. I mean, these two trade. This is we. I mean, our expectation in the price from here can drop without getting a big correction. Also, if the price starts from here, that time we will have a bigger correction because I explained based on the forward chart. We can expect we get a bigger correction before we get the down move. Okay, if we talk about the bigger correction, one of the things is the price start from here, move higher. Okay, or also there is a possibility we get similar to what I draw here. And another possibility also, the better for price from here, we get the correction from here or not, still the price can drop, break this low and reverse it. If break this low, then we can expect to get this correction before the price drop, not the bigger correction. What I explained before this. Okay, that's why I mentioned if we get a correction here, as long as the price come, if we did take the sell, as long as the price come to this level, we need to start to manage it. In case the price break, reverse, we get the bigger correction. Okay, and this is before all is when we looking for the sell. And do we need to look for buy from here? Okay, if the price start to move corrective similar to what I'm drawing here, we won't look for buy. Okay, the only times we can look for buy, whether from here we get a correction or the price lower, if we get any sharp small correction or a small flag. For example, if next week if we get any sharp move here, we get a small correction, then we can look for buy, and our target is to at least break this high. Okay, that's mean if we want to look for buy, we need to get a sharp move, a small flag or correction. It depends. But if the prices start to move in terms like corrective, we are not going to look for buy. Anyway, we don't have any trade set up. Again, if we get a correction, this is one of the option, or the second option is very risky option, having entry below this. And also may we get the bigger correction before we take this down move. Anyway, we need to wait when the market open and see what we will get from here. Whether this is the only correction, and if this is the only correction, again, I explain how we can trade, or we can expect the big correction before we take the down move. In this case, when the market open, we just follow the chart. And if I see any changes or any update, then I will share on YouTube. Thanks.